Welcome to RadioTennis.com, the podcast. In today's episode, Ken Thomas will bring to you an in-depth talk with the director and players of the Advantage Tennis International ITF Junior Tournament from Ontario, Canada. If you like the podcast, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Also, please tell a friend about Radio Tennis. Now here's Ken Thomas.
And that wins it. There it is. First set is in the books. And we are very lucky to have the guy who put this broadcast together. Let me get him all queued up. Bobby Mahal. He's the co-owner. Let me get him all queued up. Can you hear me okay, buddy?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right. Bobby Mahal, he's co-owner of Advantage Tennis International. He's the tournament director here for the ITF J30 right here in Woodbridge. Bobby, two things. Thanks for putting this together. And two, welcome to RadioTennis.com, man.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's great to have you guys here and broadcasting this event. This is our ninth year running Advantage International and our 8th year running the ITF J30 here in Woodbridge. We also run a ITF J200 in April, which brings even a bigger pool of kids internationally from all over the world.
When is that?
That's in April, mid-April, April 12th to 18th.
Yeah.
And so we've run 3 of those. And so that was an event that Tennis Canada added to our calendar. And we also run a big men's and women's $10,000 Circuit Canada event, December 18th to 23rd. So that is also another big event, getting some of the best college players from Canada. Liam Draxel has won this event. Quinn Gleason won the women's. So we have a really good field, and we're slowly building more and more international caliber events here at Advantage International at Veneto. We are really happy with the field, especially this week. It's been amazing tennis. These kids that you're watching right now, they're the future Bianca's, Felix's, Dennis's, especially here today, like 3 girls, all 2009. What impresses me the most is, the professionalism, the power that they're striking the ball. 15-year-old girls making their way onto the ITF circuit. And I like these types of events because you're seeing, usually the younger kids who are, they're going to be the future stars moving into the game, getting their first points. And in Canada, we've had a lot of kids break through on the Canadian ITF circuit by playing events like this. And Bianca, Milos, they all got their first points at similar type of events here in Burlington. So it's a great launching pad to get the kids accustomed to higher level tennis, U18 tennis, and in a year, don't be surprised if some of these kids are playing junior Grand Slams.
Yeah, it's fantastic. They look great. Tell us a little about tennis in Ontario, junior tennis in Ontario, the state of it, just your general thoughts on it.
Well, I think we're on the upswing, no doubt. We're expanding participations at its highest, I believe, ever. A lot of that has to do with the international success of the international players like Dennis, Felix, Bianca, Milos. Culminate, I think, the win for Bianca at the U.S. Open in 2019 really got a lot of kids playing tennis, especially on the girls' side. And academies all over the country were reaping the rewards of being full and having great participation numbers. So it's been great in Ontario, but I also think all over Canada. The challenge, I think, what's happened now is that there's more kids want to play tennis than there are facilities. Yeah. So what's happened slowly is that, because real estate prices have gone through the roof, land in Toronto, unfortunately a lot of clubs have closed down, and so we have wait lists now, which wasn't the case 5-6 years ago. It's getting harder to get courts. So it's a great thing that so many kids are playing tennis in Canada, and I think Tennis Canada has done an incentive to incentivize clubs with building bubbles, building courts. So hopefully we can keep up at this growth, because I think we're definitely now making a way for ourselves internationally. Like winning Davis Cup last year was huge, and now by expanding and moving into other parts of the world and being able to be known as a tennis country versus just a hockey country. Right. I think it's just changed the whole landscape here. So it's been great.
Well said, Bobby. Man, that was good.
Yeah.
That was good, buddy. That was good.
It's a good time to be Canadian right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us Tell us about what you do out here, your academy. You're co-owner of this academy. What's going on there, man?
Yeah,
What's
so-
going on? And by the way, for our listeners again, it's Advantage Tennis International.
Yeah, we started the academy in 2014,
Yeah.
and we are now in our 9th year. It's been great. The club asked us to expand from a membership club and a junior recreational program. They wanted to add a high performance wing to the club, high performance division. So we were brought in, myself and partner Adriano Ferviva, which you'll be meeting shortly. He has been instrumental in getting us here. We built 4 courts. We have another 4 coming. We have a gym, which is going to be up and running soon. So we've just been taking the academy next gear. We'll have 14 courts plus great facility all around. We have kids coming internationally. A lot of kids come, in the summer for the hard court season. The U.S. Canadian swing. We've had Rohan Bopana and Matthew Ebden were here this summer training here for a week leading up to the National Bank Open. So we've been able to attract a lot of international players. The events help. Everything helps. It's been a great program. We have 120 kids enrolled in the high performance only. That's just the high performance academy. That's between the ages of 8 to 18. Kids who compete provincially and nationally, and internationally. That's the only kind of kids we'll take in. There is a developmental academy here at the Bendigo Tennis Club. And so when the kids kind of reach a certain level, the best ones will move into the high performance. Those who want to kind of go that route will move into the high performance, wing of the academy.
Nice.
And we've been very fortunate to produce some of the great young Canadian talent here.
Yeah. What a nice pipeline, huh?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great. We have 3. So the other thing we started was the On the Rise Foundation, which is a foundation that helps support the kids the top kids that are playing ITFs internationally. So we have 2 girls in the top 200 in the world. One was as high as 80 in the world. Ellie Daniels. We have another girl, Nadia Legeev, and we have Danny Zabo, who was the top seed at this event. And they are supported in their travel through the foundation that myself, Adriano, Eddie Moran, who you'll meet shortly as well, and 2 others, Jonathan Soriano and Jan Alifritz. We started the foundation really to support kids because the rising costs in travel, the amount of weeks you got to do internationally, kids that are between the age of 14 to 18 that really have a chance to go international. And the reason it was up because we both worked with players that were very high level in the past. So Adriano was the coach of Denis Shapovalov. He still is involved, developmental coach. So he had to kind of fundraise, find money to support Denis's travel when he was younger. And I worked with a boy, Sumit Nagal, who's top 150 in the world for 6 years. And also similar situations, I worked through a foundation. So we were both familiar with the process in developing players to reach the next level, but then at the same time, we also know that there's a cost involved, and so we need to be able to, find support through the private sector to raise funds for players who want to go internationally, because these kids have to go to Europe. They have, Ellie was in Australia for the Australian Junior Open. French Open, Wimbledon, all these big events cost, a lot of money to get to. So we have been doing our best with the support of the Bendigo Tennis Club as well, and Leah Moschiti, and you'll meet her later as well, just been able to help us excel and not just, get kids into the college brand, but also those who want to play above and beyond college. Man. That's where we've been doing a focus on. So it's been great. We're very fortunate.
What's the foundation's name? Does it have a name?
The On the Rise Tennis Foundation. You can find it at ontherisetennisfoundation.ca. You can look at there, and there's a great link that has, it's on YouTube, Instagram, as well as social media, and you can read more about it. And it's been great. We've been fortunate to have some great partners already partner with us as well, and we're hoping that these kids that we're now supporting are going to be the next future's Canadian stars.
Yeah. It's so great to hear about a foundation because this summer we were doing some work with the Southern California Tennis Association, and they have a foundation, and much of their success is because of the foundation.
Absolutely.
You got to have a foundation.
You do. And the thing that a lot of people who aren't actively involved in the day-to-day travel with tennis players is the amount, when they get to the age of 14, 15, the amount of expertise required. So you need your fitness trainer, your physio, your masseuse, your nutritionist, your mental trainer, your tennis coach, your hitting partners. The list goes on and on, just for one player.
Right.
And 7-8 people sometimes are there just for one player. So these things cost money. There's at the training environment is one thing, and then when you're on the road, you need a coach with you. you're traveling, 2 hotel rooms, flights, you name it, right? So we really try to help with the travel part because we know that that is something that is a big expense.
Yeah.
And if we can get these kids playing internationally, they gain invaluable experience.
I got to tell you, I've never heard of any academy doing that. That's wonderful, man.
Yeah, so I worked from 2008 to 2014. I worked for a guy named Mahesh Bhupati, the doubles player, which Leander Paes. They were number 1 in the world.
Yeah.
He started a foundation in India in 2008, which was what part of Sumit Nagal, Carmen Tandy, both players I worked with when they were younger, and he was able to find a tire company that supported kids that were super talented. So there was a talent ID, about 20,000 kids, narrowed down to about 15 kids, all brought into the center, and this tire company put in $1 million a year for these handful of students to help support them in their conquest of becoming future ATP and WTA players. So, having that insight into what went behind that, it is a nonprofit foundation. This is simply to cover the expenses, cover the costs involved in becoming a tennis pro and being able to play internationally. So I think it's great. I mean, you need to obviously have the contacts, and you have to find tennis enthusiasts and people who are willing to, help support. But we've been very fortunate through the support of the club, a lot of local businesses, that have been, very behind. Because I think the thing now also too is that, when you're Canadian, you say, I want to be a pro tennis player. It's not a pipe dream. In some countries, I feel like, when there's not a leader of the pack or someone who's kind of paved the way, it can seem like, oh, that's not going to happen. And for us, when I think it kind of started, and we've always been having good doubles players, and you had a couple top 50 singles players, but when Milos made the big breakthrough to top 5 in the world, and then shortly thereafter, Jeannie Bouchard comes through, breaks top 5. Then people started believing, and then I think for the country, it really culminated. Like Bianca Andreescu was the first female to win the Lou Marsh Award, which is the Canadian Athlete of the Year. Never been done before. And so, they named a street after her, and I think it just really just propelled us to believe that we're like the nation's, we're leaders in the sport.
Yeah.
And now it's not a pipe dream, and I think more and more businesses and companies can see that, Canada has done it, and there's no reason. We have great athletes in this country, people from all over the world, come here to settle down here. So it's been very good for us, and I think we've seen that, like in the Davis Cup, the Fed Cup. We've been seeing some rising stars coming through in the game.
Let me ask you this one last question. And by the way, we're speaking with Bobby Mahal. Am I saying that right?
Yep, Bobby Mahal.
And he's the owner of the Advantage Tennis International. He's also the tournament director here. Bobby, how does the Tennis Canada training centers fit into the equation? How does that all work out here in Canada?
Yeah, so the Tennis Canada Training Center, which is 15 minutes away from us here at the Venero Tennis Club, for those who don't know, they host the Masters 1000, which brings in a lot of revenue, being such a big event. That money, and then in turn, is filtered down to all the players. It supports players through the grassroots level, through the junior level, all the way up to U18, and even in the pro game. And so Tennis Canada has their national training center, which some kids can participate in on a part-time basis or a full-time basis. There's 2 centers. There's one in Toronto. There's one in Montreal. And so Toronto Center is geared towards the kids that are 14 and under, and Montreal will have a 14 and under program, but they also specialize more in the 15 and up range. So for a lot of players, they'll train in Toronto to the age of 14, and then they have the option to go to Montreal to move into the center there. Some players like Bianca opted to stay in Toronto and work with a private coach through Tennis Canada. So there is some flexibility there. And then some players will obviously elect to stay at their academy and maybe join Tennis Canada on tours, on team trips, maybe participate in some camps as well. But they won't train on a full-time basis. So there has to be a synergy there. I think each case is different. There are people who decide to stay at their own academy and work with the center. There's some people that actually have went abroad, Milos Raonic was at the center for a bit, then he went to Spain through the support of Tennis Canada, Bianca Andreescu
Wow.
stayed in Toronto. I think Leila Fernandez also was in Florida getting support while training in Florida.
Yeah.
I've just heard Vicky Maboyko, who's a top ranked prospect and one of the top kids internationally her age, she's going to be going to Belgium. So, for a year to work with, Kim Kleister's old coach. So there's so many different paths. And I think the good thing that I've been observing is, the flexibility has been there from Tennis Canada that, okay, there's not one way for everybody. If you are comfortable with your coach, if you're comfortable at the National Center, if you're comfortable in Europe, if you're comfortable in Florida, whatever it may be, that's the path for you.
Yeah.
So it's been good. Like I said, I think the more that we have that flexibility, that a player is first and foremost comfortable with, and it makes it kind of make them feel like they're in a good place, then all the better.
Great stuff, Bobby.
Yeah.
Great stuff, man.
Great. Yeah.
I learned more about Tennis Canada in 5 minutes sitting down with you.
It's been good. I've come through the system. So, like, for myself, I started at a pretty young age in Canada. I started playing at 5, kind of worked my way up, was a provincial champion at 12, national champion, 16s, 18s, went to Cal Berkeley on a tennis scholarship under Peter Wright, played there for 4 years. And so, I kind of went through the whole system of working as a top junior in Canada, played Junior Davis Cup, played World Youth Cup, all the big events, and we had a great time in college tennis. 94 to 98 was when I was there. So the Bryan brothers and Justin Gimelstob and George Bassel. It was a great time. Great, back then the Pac-12 or the Pac-10 it was.
Yeah.
They were the powerhouse.
It was
right?
vicious.
I think 6 of the top 16 teams were in the Pac-10.
Yeah.
And so even small schools like Arizona State with Sargisian.
Yeah.
They were big hitters.
Yeah.
So great time. Robert Kendrick, another guy, Washington, came out of there. It was a great time. So really, I feel like we've been very fortunate to be able to, as Canadians, take advantage of the NCAA system. And we have, like, I think the girl who made the NCAA finals this year, Lane Sleeth. We've had players come through and being able to get college scholarships, and that's been another big path for us. So we obviously look up to the U.S. here in Canada. Like, there's been such a good track record of success that we have nothing but admiration, and we always feel like like the younger sister or younger brother of the U.S. here, and so everybody wants to work their way up and be recognized. And if you make the big stage at the U.S., then you feel like you've made it. So it's been good like that.
I saw the men's Kentucky team. It was like a Canadian Davis Cup.
It is. Yeah. So very good team. And I think that's a lot of motivation now. Like, what we're seeing more and more now, especially in the girls' game, is that there's now a path. If you're not 18 years old winning Grand Slams or reaching the finals, semifinals of junior Grand Slams, then you may need 2, 3, 4 years of college to get you ready, right? Build your body, work on your match play, get more experience, whatever it could be. And that's been, I think, the great thing for us is because, a lot of kids in Canada, because the thing is, for every 100 courts that we have in the summer, only 10% of them are indoors, right? So a large portion of courts are not playable in the winter. So a lot of kids don't get the hours. So by 16, 17, 18, they still need that. There's still a lot of development that needs to be done in a short time. So a lot of them aren't ready for the Pro Tour. And so by going to college and getting a couple years under your belt in that environment, where you're playing all day and you got 8 to 10 players your level that are pushing you, it's been great. And I think why a lot of that happens, there's a couple of kids, a kid from our place that is at Arizona, a couple other Canadians joined in there as well, is because the familiarity, right? They're going to a foreign country, they're going to different countries still, and there's a college team. So a lot of players want to go somewhere where they know someone, right? And so it's easier if you're going to Kentucky, Arizona, that there's some familiarity there already, right? You visit the team, and it's like, oh, there's my doubles partner from last year. So if you know 1, 2 more teams, and then it just kind of feeds itself. And I think, like Cedric Hoffman's done a great job at Kentucky as he sees the next wave of, talent coming in. And sometimes it may not be the next year, but 2 years later, there's a young, hot prospect coming out of Canada. And the big thing I feel is, like, the girls' game. That's, to me, is the big improvement that's been made. So internationally, we're seeing more and more girls on the Pro Tour coming from colleges. And so I think it was 20 girls in the U.S. Open that were NCAA, where it was when I played. I remember the only girl was Lisa Raymond that was playing. So that, to me, has been another huge advantage. So we have now a lot of Canadian girls that are getting good scholarships as well. Like I said, the NCAA finalist this year was Canadian, Lane Sleeth, who's playing the Tevlin. I believe you're covering that tomorrow. That's the type of pathway for us. So we're doing really well. We're very fortunate. We're in a great time to be, playing Canadian tennis and growing up in this country. The opportunities are there. Like even nationally now, like when I was a kid, there was really nothing for you even if you were top provincially, U12, U14, there was really not much Tennis Canada could do. But now there's national camps, provincial camps, traveling opportunities. The country's doing a lot for supporting grassroots, and the demand now is also very, very high. So we have to keep up with this demand, and hopefully it stays.
Very cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be talking to you throughout the day. Again, this is Bobby Mahal. He's the owner of Advantage Tennis International, and what a wealth of knowledge you have, and glad you could join us.
Great, thanks, Ken.
All right, we'll talk again later on.
Okay,
Thanks.
have a good one.
Thanks. There you go. Hope you enjoyed that. What a shot of Canadian tennis knowledge that was. So I hope you enjoyed it. That's what this whole week is about with us being in Canada. All right, give me a second here. We're going to have a guest. You comfortable there? All right, let me get you all queued up. We're going to meet a young lady who has a big game. I was watching her. Hey there, this is 14-year-old Andrea Taylor, who just won her semifinal match over Helena Vico to move into the singles girls final tomorrow. Well, let me tell you something. Andrea, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
Welcome to Radio Tennis.
Thank you.
That's really nice. Where are you from?
I come from Pickering, Ontario.
Pickering, Ontario. How far is that roughly from here?
Maybe an hour.
An hour? Okay.
Yeah.
And where do you play? Where do you play most
I
of your
train
tennis?
at Sobe Stadium, so
do you?
the National Center in Toronto.
Gotcha. And, well, let's just get your impressions on today's match. You won straight sets, right? You won, what, 6 and 5?
No, 4-3.
4-3, okay. What were your thoughts on today's match?
I think I played pretty well.
Yeah?
Start was a bit shaky. First 2 games, I went down 2-0. And then I figured out, how to play her.
Yeah.
And I started playing, way more aggressive and taking more control of the points. And then I started to get the upper hand in the match.
Yeah.
And then it was just a matter of keeping the momentum going throughout. And if I was holding, my serve was pretty good. So when I would hold, it would, break her down because it's easier, in my case, to, play a return game. So I was taking control of, her second serves and, putting the attacks away. So if I was holding my serve, then I was always going to get the upper hand in the match, and then that's why it was in straights.
Sometimes it's that second serve is the softest shot you're going to get, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So you got to take advantage of it.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I'm just not saying this. You got a really beautiful game.
Thank you.
Really. How did you get into the game? Who started you with teaching you? And where did you get the groundies? I really love the groundies. They're fluid, man. You got really fluid, beautiful
Thank you.
groundies.
Well, yeah, I've done a lot of work with my coach, Hugo Di Feo, on
Yeah?
forehands,
Yeah.
especially because they were a bit shaky to start.
And you're very offensive minded, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I've always been like that since I've been little. I've always wanted to.
You are little.
Well, when I was just starting playing tournaments, I was always known to be an aggressive player.
How did you first start playing? Where did it all come together for you?
Well, the weird part is both my parents didn't play tennis.
Okay.
And it started, I was playing soccer, swimming, and basketball, and tennis all at the same time. So it was a matter of me, and I got to choose which one I wanted to play, and I enjoyed tennis the most.
Really?
So there was no influence from parents or grandparents or anything. It was just I liked the sport the most out of all of the ones I was playing.
How do you do for our listeners who are around the world? How do you're in Pickering, and then do you make the journey into the National Training Center in Toronto? I mean, the Regional Training Center in Toronto every day, or? Yeah,
that's my club now. So I basically got picked to go and train in Toronto. So there was a couple of us that got picked. It's a very small group. So I train there every day, Monday to Saturday.
What times?
Depends on the day. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm there the entire day from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And then on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm there from around 2 to 6 or 3 to 6.
And then are you homeschooled or do you go?
Actually, I go in person. I'm at
Do
a
ya?
girls' private in Toronto.
In Toronto?
Like really in Forest Hill area.
Really? So you what do you go from like 9 to 3 or is it how do you?
The day school starts at 9, but
Yeah.
I'll go in earlier to get some extracurriculars done.
Yeah.
Like earlier in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I'll go and I'll leave at around 2 to get to practice for 3. And then I just go from there. But
Gotcha.
it's hard managing like school and tennis, but I've done it long enough now where
Oh man,
I'm able
way
to
to go!
manage.
Way to go, girl.
Thank you.
So does mom and dad drive you to school or?
Yeah, they're really good with it because
Yeah.
they alternate. They like if they're taking me in the morning,
Yeah.
my dad like changed like the area of where he works, so he works close to my school, so he's always able to pick me up and drive me.
Nice.
And then like my parents are like very supportive of like my tennis, so they'll do anything they can to get me on the court. So
Oh man, well, you look great. What have you been playing? Let's just like your last say 3 tournaments. What were you doing? Want me to look it up? You want me to look it up?
I played at J100 in Quebec City.
Yeah.
That was the last tournament I
How'd
played.
that go for you?
I lost first round to the girl who won the tournament in 3 sets, but I was happy with the way I played.
Yeah.
Let's maybe not talk about doubles.
Okay, let's
because
move on to the. How about any other tour? What's your summer like? What do you play during the summer?
I've gone on tours for the last 2 years.
Yeah?
And I'm a touring team for Canada. We've been playing for Canada. This year I went to Worlds, the World Under 14 Juniors in Czech Republic.
Wow.
So that was a great experience.
That's
so
a round robin, right? Is
yeah,
that a round?
it's this top 16 countries in the world, and then we all compete. We ended up placing in the quarters, so not
Way
bad.
to go. Have you played out of the country besides
Multiple times.
Yeah.
We played tournaments in Austria, like all around Europe, Austria, France, Germany. Where else
Yeah.
have we gone? We've gone to quite a few places.
So what do you think you'll do this coming next summer? I know it's a while off. It's like 8 months off, but what's the plan there? What do you think?
I think I'm going to probably be playing ITFs because now, like, the tennis Europes are, like, they're obviously a high level, but
Yeah.
I'm going to probably be primarily focused on playing, like, more ITFs and trying to get more, like, a better ranking, accumulating more points.
Yeah. What surface do you like? What kind of surface do you like?
I like red clay.
Do you?
I love red clay.
Do you get some of that out here? Is there what? There's none?
Nope, there's not much. Like, I'm telling you, every time that I can get on a clay court anywhere, I love it. Even
Really?
if it's a bad clay court, good clay court, like anywhere, like I like playing on clay.
Yeah.
My best results.
Really?
Like I won under 14 nationals this like summer,
Yeah.
and it was played on clay. And
Nice.
Worlds and all those Tennis Europe tournaments are primarily played on clay. So.
You know, I drove in here from Detroit, right?
Nice.
And you go right over the 401, I think it is,
Mm-hmm.
and you go by Parkside Tennis Club. Have you ever been to Parkside?
I've been to Parkside.
They got red clay.
Yeah, I know, but it's so far. Parkside's so far.
But it's like
2.5 hours.
Yeah, but I was like, what is red clay doing in Windsor, Canada?
Yeah, that was that. I went there once for a tournament. It's the most surprising thing ever. I was
Yeah.
not expecting that.
Are you thinking? What grade are you in?
I'm in grade 9.
Grade 9. So, are you? I know it's so far down the pike. Are you thinking American college tennis? You thinking maybe just tour or what?
Well,
do you?
the
I know it's a
goal-
long ways.
The goal obviously is to get on the pro tour, but
Right.
if I have to go to a university, I'm gonna obviously try.
Yeah.
If I'm not ready yet to go pro, but the goal is to get to the highest level I can and hopefully go pro.
Cool, man. Well, it was really nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
And then we're out of here. This is our only day, so it's my only day to talk with you. But it was really nice, and for our listeners out there, she's just really got a almost Federer-like game, somewhat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Style-wise, somewhat. Again, this is Andrea Taylor, who won her semifinals today. She plays tomorrow for the time. So nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
All
Thank
right,
you.
nice job. You hear me, okay, buddy?
Yeah.
Quincy Yao. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Where are you from, buddy?
I'm from Markham, Ontario.
How far is that from here? Is that close?
It's like 40 minutes. It's
40
not,
minutes.
It's not too bad.
How old are you?
I'm 15 years old.
15. And is this your obviously first year 16s?
Yeah.
Right. Do you play mostly 18s though? Do you play? What do you
yeah,
play?
I usually only play ITFs and sometimes usually I play ITFs and nationals. So that's pretty much the only tournaments I play.
Gotcha. Is there a Canadian national junior ranking?
Yes, there is.
And roughly, where would you be falling that roughly?
Right now in my age group, I'm 7th, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell us about your match today. How'd it go today? What are your thoughts today?
Unbelievable match today. I was playing against Future Cell, playing it multiple times. Every time is really close. Today came out on top, playing well. So
Yeah.
it was a really good match.
You guys were tearing it up out there, man.
Yeah.
It's like flamethrowers out there. What do you usually play? What tournaments do you usually play? Like this summer, what did you play?
This summer I played U18 nationals and U16 nationals.
Huh?
Played like 2 ITFs, and that's pretty much it. I don't play like super many tournaments,
That's
but
it.
yeah.
How were the nationals? How did the 14 and 16s nationals go for you?
16s I made finals of nationals, and national I won doubles too.
Way to go!
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic, man. So what do you think you'll play next? Is there a tournament next week? Someone told me in Burlington. or
Yeah,
something?
there's a J100 in Burlington next week.
Are you going to play that?
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then that will take you into the holidays. And then are you done for the year? You think? Or
Yeah, I think so. Probably Burlington's probably my last tournament of the year.
Where do you work out of? Where do you train out of? Is it here or is it Tennis
I
Canada?
train with a private coach. His name is Andres Marco. He trains pretty much everywhere. As long as we can find courts, I hit with him.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
When did you start playing? How old were you?
I started playing when I was 6 years old.
6 years old.
6 years old.
And then just started playing what? Local stuff? Provincials? And
When I didn't start playing competitively until I was like 13 years old. I mean, until I was 13 years old, I was kind of just fooling around. Like I liked the sport. I never really took it competitively.
yeah.
But at 13, I really started feeling like the shots. I really wanted to play tennis.
Gotcha. And then do you know these guys? Have you played these guys that are out here in the other semis? Have you played them?
Yeah,
Was
I
it
played both of them.
Kinnelman and Quinton, right?
Yeah, I played both of them.
Gotcha. And wow, man. So future goals? What are you thinking? Let's say like next year. Let's just go, not
next
big
year,
time goal, just next year.
I'd
What are
say-
your goals?
Say big goal probably be maybe top 1,000 ITFs.
Yeah.
It's probably try to get high into ITF rankings, get some more points. Big goal right now for me.
Gotcha, man. So you're doing about 4 tournaments a year, you're saying?
Yeah,
Roughly 4 tournaments
roughly
a year.
4 tournaments. It also really depends on the timing, because I don't really like traveling too much. I'd rather just play more tournaments here.
Yeah,
So if they have more tournaments here, higher level, I would play those too.
gotcha. Does Tennis Canada do anything for you? I mean, because I hear some people are working with Tennis Canada, some
Yep.
people aren't working for you. Do they do anything for you at all?
They haven't done much for me, but I remember I think last year we did one camp where for 1 week we played with the top juniors in Canada.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good. It was a lot of high level tennis. It was good tennis for 1 week.
Gotcha, man. Describe your game for our listeners. What do you?
I
know what I saw, but
Yeah.
you explain it.
I think I'm an attacker. I like to use my forehand and inside outs a lot to put some more pressure on the opponent. I feel like my serve's also a strong point of my game. I like to switch up my serves a little bit, get me to, after my serve, able to hit forehands, be able to hit some big shots.
You move well too, buddy.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You move well. You really do. You're really fluid and just really cover the court. Well, listen, buddy, it was nice meeting you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
And I wish you all the best. I really do.
Yes, thank you.
Keep it going, and say your name again for our listeners out there.
My name is Quincy Yao.
Quincy, thanks, buddy. Well
Thank
done,
you.
man. Well done. Thank you. My friend, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Kyle Stocker. I was a player in the UK and I came over to Canada a couple of months ago and I've been working with Quinton.
Where are you from in the UK?
From London, so
From London.
Middlesex area.
Middlesex area?
Yeah. So,
Well, before we talk about Quinton, what were you doing over there in the UK, in Middlesex? What were you doing?
So I grew up in the UK, grew up over there, played at the junior, playing myself,
Yeah.
and then I actually moved over to Australia. I was playing over there, and then I went into coaching, so did some stuff over there, and then spoke to Bobby and Adriano and Eddie and the people at Advantage Tennis here, and came over a few months ago. So I've been working with their international players. So I've
Great.
been working with Quinton, Danny, Anvika, Kai, and 7 players in total. And it's been really good.
Way to go, man. Where were you in Australia? Where were you living
I
or
was-
hanging out?
I was in Perth, so I was in Western Australia.
Really?
So it's pretty small and pretty isolated. But they had good level of tennis there.
How was
so.
Perth? I've never been. I've been to Melbourne. I've been to,
It's-
Sydney, but I've never been over to the west side over there.
Honestly, it's so beautiful.
I bet.
Of 12 months I was there, 11 months of sunshine, every day, beautiful weather, perfect tennis weather outside every day. It was just beaches. It was just, it was wonderful.
It's like Toronto, right?
Exactly, just like it.
So how did you get here? How did you hear about this place, or how did you cross paths with?
Well, I just looked into like more high performance stuff in Toronto.
Yeah.
And then I came across this academy, and then I spoke to Bobby and Adriano, who's coaching Denis Shapovalov.
Yeah.
And we spoke, and he said, "Come over here, we'll have a talk," and then one thing led to another, and here I am.
Gotcha. Is it like an everyday schedule for you, or is it flexible schedule, or how does it work?
Pretty flexible. I'm normally working about 5 days, and then with 3 or 4 players a day. So, but just super like, as I'm working with just a few players, it's super like specialized for them. So it's doing really well.
Tell us about Quentin here, because you work with him, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've done loads of work with Quentin, and his level, it's really good. It's really good in practice. Like, he has such a good quality ball, and he's very physical as a player. And it's really nice to see this week, because he's putting it all together. Because sometimes he struggles in matches to find that same quality. I think mentally he struggles slightly, but he's really putting it all together this week. And I think he likes being at home. He's definitely said he's found that like really helpful to him. So it's been great to see, and he's been playing really good tennis.
Thank you for listening to Radio Tennis, the podcast. Please thumbs up and subscribe. Also, check out the streaming broadcast site at radiotennis.com for great live tennis presented by Ken. All the streaming broadcasts are free, no sign-up required. New sessions are being added all the time, and there is a full archive for listening to great tennis events from the past on demand. Radio Tennis is the best free streaming service for tennis, hands down. From everyone at Radio Tennis, have a great day, and we will see you at our next podcast or live stream.